What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, trying to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Head doctor. Almost at the end of day 2. How you feeling about it?
Feeling fine like a bottle of wine now. I don't drink wine.
Yo, what is going on? This is Ricky Ventures and Marlon Madden, and we are back with you with the Success Journey Show. Everyone, man, we're excited today because typically me and Marlon are not together, right? You see this on the screen together. This is the first one in a long time we're able to be in person. As you see, we have a special guest with us today. We'll introduce him in a second. But Marlon, man, talk to our travelers.
Oh man, it's been a joy.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just gonna tell them straight up. We're in Chicago,
Yeah.
the Windy City, Chicago. I wish they could hear the noise, but I know we're trying to edit it out and all this kind of stuff. But we're up on the 13th floor of a building here in the Windy City, Chicago, and this weekend was a joy, just basically because of all the things that we were able to encapsulate and we were able to accomplish this week. So it's just a great feeling when you put your mind to something and you actually see it come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Man, we've been talking about this for some time. The Hit Doctor company, we shared with you guys inventions and things that were coming out, and we're excited today because we finally, we had to clear his schedule. He's so busy, man. We couldn't get no time for us, so we finally had to pull him away from all his conferences and sign an autograph. So that he can share a little bit of his story and just his journey. And we know that you're going to love it. So it's none other than our business partner, our friend here, Tom Miller. Tom, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys. Yeah, we had a great weekend out here at the coaches at the National Baseball Conference in Chicago. It was a blast. Met a lot of really influential people. Learned a lot. Looking forward to getting our product to market. The guys are great. We had a great time. Just a good feeling being here with everybody, and got a great response on the swing trainer. So we're really excited, and can't wait to get home, start breaking everything down, looking to what direction we're going. So great weekend. A lot of energy, a lot of positive energy, and it was just a really fun time. Enjoying to be here.
Absolutely. So Tom, they've heard all of our we call them travelers because we're talking to people that are on a journey, right? And what we like to do on this show, as we share with you plenty of times that we've been talking, just people that are on a journey to success, right? They see people that have achieved so many different things. Like we met a guy that sold a business for $18 million, right? But when you talk to him about his journey, he talked about how he was every weekend he was at a show showing this. It took time to develop. So a lot of people don't get to see that side of it. And I know we're in the midst of building our journey now with our brand and everything. But let's go back to just let them who's Tom? Yeah. Who is Thomas Miller?
So baseball has always been a love of mine since I was a child. You started at 4, used to watch the Orioles, and you had to watch what your parents watched on TV because you only had a couple channels. And whatever your parents watched, you watched. So luckily, my parents
that was a long time
enjoyed
ago,
sports a long time ago. Even before internet, even before cable. Okay, so all my age out there a little bit, but it is what it is. And I love the Orioles. The Colts used to be in Baltimore back then, so it's been a long time ago. But we watched football, baseball together, and found a love for the game. And actually used to even say my prayers at night. And would say I wanted to be a pro baseball player. My mom would say that you can't say that, you gotta say your prayers properly and stuff. And so I've loved it forever. And my friends, a lot of people that have known me since I was a child would tell you that I've always had a passion for it. So along the way, I did a little coaching. Enjoyed that. Played, little league, travel, club, high school, college. Played a little bit of independent league ball in Florida, and then coached and got in and out of it with my own children. And had a guy come to me and say, "Hey, we need to start training kids. The level of training they're getting isn't where it should be." So I started training and became a hitting coach, and my success grew. And ran into Ricky at a hitting facility. Came in and watched me train for weeks, and I really didn't know he was watching me. And
Yeah, you do. He
so-
knew. He
well,
knew. He was
just-
posing and everything.
Nah.
Nah.
But I'm training these kids. My kids all hit. I will say that. I have my kids hit, and I've been fortunate enough to have good kids that work hard. And in the process, Rick started bringing his son to me, and he showed up with Marlon the first day, and we just hit it off, and kidding around and having a good time. And I trained his oldest son for a while, and I had some issues with a drill that I was doing, and I had this idea in my mind about how I could do this drill with a batting tee. And we usually set the tee up against the net, and if you swing it properly, you hit the net. And I thought, well, everybody doesn't have a net, it can't be portable, and it was a product of need is how it came about. So after seeing engineers and getting with Ricky and creating the company, and it's a journey, like you're saying. If you have a passion for something and you love it, and you know it'll work, then don't give up. Just keep pushing, and be patient, but keep moving forward. And I guess it's been a year and a half now, and we're patent pending with the product, and we're getting ready to get probably a utility patent the way it looks, and moving forward to getting into production. And we want to really have a product to market hopefully by summer.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go back and meet with our other owners of the company, and then start making some decisions on how we're going to move forward. So it's getting exciting. We're getting close, and basically that's a short version of my journey. But love the game forever. If you have a love for something and an idea to make that better, that's what I would do. I would just go in that direction and be persistent, and don't give up, and you'll get there. You really will.
Yeah, Tom, man, I'm glad you took them along that that overview, that background, because you really showed it from the very beginning all the way until today, right?
Right.
As to what that journey looks like, and I know many of our viewers, you guys hear he did that summary in 5 minutes, but within that summary, there are so many things that were going on, so many ups, so many downs throughout this journey. Even before Tom and I got together, Tom has been really at a point of just following his passion. As he's following his passion, doors have been opening up for him. So, you can Google him on YouTube, look him up on YouTube, you'll see things of him doing training videos with some of his players. One we'll introduce to you a little bit later as well, and that's a cue for him. So then also, you'll see how he's also been writing books and things of that nature. So it's been a lot of work, Tom, right?
A lot of work.
Now, Tom, one thing I know about you, right, and what I want them to talk about, and goes a little bit away from baseball.
Okay.
And, Tom, relax too, man. I'm not gonna put you on the spot, okay? We didn't give him no cue card. He's starting getting ready. Like, wait, what's he gonna ask me? Nah, I'm not gonna do that to you, man. So Tom works hard. Tom works extremely hard. And we talk about work ethic, right? And what we see a lot of people doing today versus, people that win and people that are not winning. You're saying you're training, like when are you training? That's not what you're doing full time, right?
Yeah, so I work full time. I've been in government employee work for 32 years, and I teach hitting lessons in the evening. And there's weeks where I have 15, 18 a week, and I try not to teach weekends to keep just so I can have a life. And then I have other things I do on top of that. So being a father, husband, having responsibilities for home, you can fit it in. You just have your time management is very important. I also try to work out a little bit because you want to stay healthy on top of it. And I'm throwing throwing balls to these kids to hit, and it's probably an average of between 300 and 400 a day, and that's 4 or 5 times a week. So if you don't stay in shape, you're going to have injuries, and I'm not going to be able to do that. So yeah, I do have an assistant, a young college guy now that works with us with the hitting side, and he's had some influence on the product. And there's actually more to come. We get this first product to market. Then there's some other things up in my head that Rick and I and Marlon have discussed in our group, and other things we would try to bring to market. So the biggest thing is, yeah, everybody says, "Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time." Well, if you love it and you have a passion for it, you'll make the time. You'll fit it in. And time management is very important. You know, being disciplined on when you get up, when you go to bed, how you train, what you're doing, and then fitting it into your schedule. And there's, with technology today, there's a calendar on my phone. People can go and sign up for lessons. Ricky handled that. And once you start to have an idea what you want to do, try to surround yourself with good people that have talents that you don't have. And I know my limitations, and that's another thing I think is very important. As a coach, and even as building a business, know your limitations. Bring in people that are good at other things that you need to accomplish. And I've been fortunate enough to do that. And I think that's what's going to get us to where we want to be. And yeah, everybody, I think wants to be rich and famous or whatever, but most people don't want to put in work. And that's the same thing I find out with my athletes. I have a lot of talented players, I really do. But how many of them want to go to the gym and work out properly and then put in their training time off the tee, their teamwork and their drills, and then come and work out? And it's not a lot. There's not a lot of people that are willing to sacrifice and put their time.
Yeah. Now, we could go so many ways with this conversation because you're a very dynamic person, and just from being around you, a year and a half to almost 2 years, there's so many sides to Tom, But one thing I want you to talk about, because there's a lot of people out here with ailments, and what they do is they use that ailment as a
That's
crutch.
an excuse, yes.
And I want you to, talk about your ailment,
yes,
and talk about how you work
what I
around
do
that.
and how I do
Correct.
it. Okay.
Correct.
So when I was 38, I found out I had type 2 diabetes. And I talked to a lot of diabetics, and they do use diabetes as a crutch. Along the way, my pancreas shut down, and I'm type 1. So I wear a device in my body that reads my sugar levels constantly, and then I adjust to that. But exercise really helps control diabetes. So with doing the training at night and evening with the hitters, that's helped tremendously. And then going to the gym and trying to eat properly. And I know that that's tough to do. And I don't eat perfect by any means, but I do try to control it. And I work on my internal sugar level, which is your A1C. And you want to keep it in a solid range. Keep it in a healthy range. And all of you can do it. If I can do it with my schedule, all of you can do it. There's no doubt. So you got to plan your meals, see a dietitian, go to an endocrinologist, which studies your internal system and is your diabetic doctor. Just don't go to your family doctor for diabetes. Go to a specialist, and you'll be able to control it, handle it, and just make it part of your life. Don't fight it. Just accept it and then run with it. Mm-hmm. And that's probably what's helped me so much. I don't let diabetes control me. I control it, and that's how I feel about it. So if you have to, make it a competition with yourself. That's how you want to handle it.
Yeah,
man, I love that. Love that outlook. That outlook.
And Tom, also I want you to share, just what I want to get across to all of our viewers and all of our listeners across the world is just, what it takes to get to the level that you're at in terms of being able to teach at the level you're able to teach at, right? It takes a lot of studying. It takes a lot of practice. It's not something that I'm just natural. It happens. I woke up. I'm the best, hitting coach around the world. No, like you really dive into it, and it's not just before you talk about it specifically to that. He applies this to every aspect of his life. When he's going to research something, or he's tied to something, or something that he's interested in, he's reading up, finding all the nuances about it. He's fishing. He used to own his lawn business. He used to, hunting, all that kind of stuff. You talk to him, he'll give you, in Encyclopedia 5545 on page 3, it says this. That's just the way Tom is, whatever he does. So Tom, just tell us about the process it took for you to really become an excellent coach.
And Rick, before you answer that, a lot of people, I could just look and say, Rick is the best pilot ever. And somebody have to believe and take my word for it.
Yeah,
But until you fly.
Yeah.
Right? And then this weekend was a perfect example. We have this exhibition where everybody, and we had guys from Korea, Denmark, Italy, Mexico.
Yep.
Everybody from around the world was at this convention.
Right.
And when they came to our spot for hitting, and I sat back and I said, yo, we got the hit doctor. And I introduced him as this is Mr. Hit Doctor himself. And they started talking about it. They were trying to challenge his knowledge. They had to sit back and have him really teach him what they know. And I'm talking about all levels. From guys from MLB all the way down to Little League.
Yeah, we
So-
have an MLB guy coming over too.
Yeah. So talk about that level of hitting that Ricky was
So when
asking.
you go into something, if you really want to be comfortable, you have to be well knowledged in that subject. And so with me loving the game, I studied it for, I'll tell you, I'll be 59 in a couple of days. So probably started really focusing and thinking about things in my teens. So probably good 35 years now. When I was in high school, went into a hitting slump. And while I was in a hitting slump, I read a book that Charlie Lyle at the time was the Chicago White Sox hitting coach. And I read that whole book in school in one day to try to get, by that afternoon, an edge. So going into the game, and I used some of those things. I actually had a couple hits. So from there on, just studying anything that you're going to go into in depth, so that you have in-depth knowledge, and then you got to look at different theories because there's more than one way to hit. And I have people ask me all the time. Roland asked me, "Hey, what if you have a guy that you don't like his style, you don't like what he's doing, but he's crushing the ball, okay? Or she's crushing the ball," because I also have a lot of female softball hitters. And at that time, you don't change a thing. If it's not broke, you don't fix it. So you let them do their thing. If they start having problems, then you make corrections. But I see many hitting coaches go in and they just want to put their stamp on it, make a change when nothing needs to be done. And I just think that's not a good way about it. So, but in-depth learning, studying, I try to read every single week and for a little while. And when I read, Rick decided, hey, you need to write a book on what you do and your hitting style. We broke it all down.
What's the name of the book, by the way?
And
The Art.
The Art of Hitting. Yeah. So it's the doctor's Art of Hitting. So when you go into that and you start breaking different styles down, you even learn more about the subject. And I think that's what's made me as good as I am today, because when you do research, you'll learn more about your subject, and it's just going to make you more complete in whatever you decide to do. And that's helped me tremendously. And Rick's right. When I decide, look, if I'm going to do something, I'll read a lot about that subject. It has nothing to do with baseball or whatever. I'm thinking about getting another dog, and I've been reading about it and where the breed started and their temperament, things like that. So whatever you're gonna look into, just read about it and research it, and you're gonna be real comfortable. And I started all the different styles: elbow up, elbow down, thinking about what's the quickest way to the ball. And we could talk about all this for hours. But I enjoy it. I'm passionate about it. It's fun. And the other reason why it's fun is because I'm knowledgeable. If I didn't have knowledge about it, like I don't know a lot about computers, production like these guys do, I'm not good at it. So if we had to do this, I go to those guys. We want to talk about hitting, they'll come to me. So being dynamic, that's what I was talking to you about before. Make sure that you surround yourself with people that know other things that you need to accomplish. Don't think you need to do it all yourself. I teach just hitting. I don't teach pitching, catching. I do a little infield, a little outfield, but those positions are so important with what they have to do. They're as intricate as hitting. So pitching is the catching position. Go to somebody that knows those positions if you want to train yourself or your child or somebody you know in those areas. And that's the same thing with business. Don't try to do everything. Be good at something and then surround yourself with those people.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that, Tom. One thing I will share with you guys before, we bring on one of Tom's, I would say one of his most prolific proteges.
Yeah.
You call it Tom 2.0.
Tom 2.0.
2.0.
Yeah, the younger version.
Yeah. Before we bring him out, just to share his perspective, because like Marlon said, Marlon can say, I'm the best pilot in the world, but he don't know anything about pilots, right? We can say Tom is the best hitting instructor in the world, but I never played baseball. I played baseball maybe 2 years, got kicked off the last team where they stopped calling me to come to practice. Marlon plays cricket in Jamaica, so we're not the best to say. But what we do know is we know people when they perform, and we see them knocking the ball out of the park. And we have one of his Tom's 2.0 with us today. We'll introduce him in a minute. But before that, I would like to share. I don't think we've ever really shared the journey of. Tom mentioned it a little bit in the beginning of me and him connecting, and Marlon and I are always talking about the different avenues and ventures we got going on. And this one was one that we really kept close to the chest just because of the patent we were working on, the invention. We can't really share too much details until the patent's in place, the patent's pending, and all that kind of stuff. So having Tom here now, when me as a father, as I was looking at my son saying, hey, he wants to play baseball, and you gotta know, it's a commitment to say, hey, I want to get a coach, right?
Yes.
It's a commitment to say, hey, I want to be
It's a personal commitment. It's a financial commitment too.
Yeah.
So you want to hire somebody that knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
So that's why you want to do your research.
Exactly.
Have an idea of hitting styles and different theories on hitting maybe before you go and just to hire somebody.
Yeah.
Because, just as anything, there's great doctors and there's doctors that aren't so good.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. You want to go to the best doctor, you want to try to go to the best coach, no matter what it is. Like I said, pitching, hitting, catching, whatever it is.
Yep.
So,
and Tom had the best marketing, I would say, by being in a space where other parents are coming, bringing their kids for their rec practices, and just hearing the ball be knocked like crazy behind them. You could do nothing but turn around and say, "Yeah, I know I'm here for my son. I hope he does good." But man, look at these kids over here.
So Ricky was coming to the facility and watching my kids hit the whole time.
Yeah.
And not paying attention to the son.
Man,
that's how we met.
Sorry, man, I'm sorry. If you never become something big,
No, but hey, what was the next
listen,
move?
Solomon's gift is he's super intelligent. He's going to be a doctor. Solomon's brilliant. I'm not worried about what Solomon's going to do.
Exactly.
Like I said, you got to run in new direction.
Yeah.
And he's super smart. Solomon's going to be fine.
Yeah. So I got him linked up with Tom like a year later, and
he get better.
Yeah, he got better.
He improved, no doubt.
Yeah, he definitely learned a lot, improved so much, enjoyed the time. He said, hey, I'm gonna play basketball now. I was like, all right, well, let's play basketball now. So, giving kids exposure to different things. But the thing with what I saw about Tom is just, I can spot people that are dedicated to what they're doing and really try to push themselves to be great at what they're doing. And I never seen the idea. I remember the first day we sat down and said, hey, let's meet at, it was like a Wendy's or something like that.
Right.
Or Green Turtle. It was somewhere one of those areas. And we sat down together first, and we were just talking about, who each other was, kind of our background, kind of what our ideas were. And from that day on, it was just solidified that, hey, we're gonna do this. Yeah. And like we said, we haven't had everything completely figured out on every step, but it was about, hey, let's talk this through. How are we going to make it work? Okay, and then we get introduced to somebody else, and something else happens. So it's just a matter of being committed to saying, I'm committed to saying, hey, I see greatness, and I'll be a fool not to attach myself to greatness if that's what I want to emulate as well as outside of baseball, just even as an individual,
Right.
surrounding yourself with
I
great
was going
people.
to say that. So when you're excited too about something and you're passionate about it, people can feel it. And the people that we have involved, actually, when we talk to them, nobody turned us down as investors. Think about it, really. Everybody thought, wow, man, Tom, you're in, you love doing this. Everybody would tell you that they were, man, you really want this, and we trust you, believe in what you're doing. And that's how we move forward. But as Rick's trust is in me with my hitting knowledge, my trust is in him with all the technical side. And that's why this is working. I really want to get that through to you again. But be passionate about what you're doing. Hopefully you're loving it, because I love what I do. I want to retire and just do this full time. And I'm getting close, so it's really getting close. So hopefully, if I ever do another one of these interviews, I'll say, hey, I retired and I'm doing this. This is what I do. This is where I'll be. You want to come see me? We're probably going to what are we going? Louisville.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. We're going to Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Tennessee next year.
Tennessee.
Nashville.
Tennessee. But talk, a support system is important,
yes,
right?
yes.
And I know, the wife had to give up. What's great is that what's great about these trips is you get to sit down and you get to talk to everyone. And you talk to us about some anniversaries that you were at the
I
hit.
can tell them about.
So talk about the support system and how your family actually believe in your dream and is willing to just give you the support you need.
Right. So, I have a wife, and we've been married a long time, and she's very, very supportive. Justin actually had tryouts who you're going to meet soon, and he had special events coming up. And one of them was a couple days before my wedding anniversary. And I said to her, look, I know our anniversary's coming a couple days. Justin has a big tryout. I'm his hitting coach. And I really wanted to do well. He had like a college showcase and some things to do. And I said, please let me train him. You can come hang out and watch, and then I'll take you to dinner. And she knew what it meant to me and how important it was for him. And that's what actually happened. So I went and trained him for, it was actually a couple hours. My wife sat with his dad and mom and sat and talked to them and hung out while I trained him. And we finished up, and then we went to dinner. But those are the kind of sacrifices that you're going to need to make to get to where you want to go. It's not always not going to be easy. Yeah. Many days I've sat and talked with Rick, and when Marlon talked about a support system, you're going to get down sometimes. You're going to think, man, we ran into a roadblock here. We're not moving forward, and you're going to get down a little bit. And it's usually as soon as it happened, either I would call Rick or Rick would call me and be like, hey, guess what? And there we go again, something else good happened. So we have, we're running to a roadblock lately. We're going to get a guy who specializes in a certain area. And I was so excited, I called him this morning from Chicago. And he said, okay, I'm really going to consider it. And he's probably going to get on board. That's probably going to put us over the top to where we need to be. And so, that support system is really important, because it's going to keep you going. When you get down, if you're running into a roadblock, like, oh man, what are we going to do? And you got a good group of people around you, you'll be fine. And use your family. My children, they're super supportive. My daughter even has gotten involved in our exercise videos and things that we have. And I might even bring her out next year to work the booth with us, because she's got a lot of energy, and she would draw a lot of attention, positive attention. We'll put it that way. So,
Thank you, Autumn.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, I want to give a little shout out too, because this event, we came on the 5th, and it's from the 5th to the 10th. My wife's birthday was on the 6th.
Yes.
And she said, I said, hey babe, we gotta go to Chicago for this event. Told her what it was about. She said, don't worry about it. Enjoy yourself. Go make it happen. I know that this is important to you. Go and make it happen. So, hey, I want to shout you out.
Happy birthday.
And happy belated birthday. And we'll do something special when we get back.
He's full of energy.
Full of energy.
But listen, I did not want to end this. I wanted to make sure that we got a chance for you to meet Tom 2.0. His name is actually Justin Mack. Phenomenal, not just player, but person. When we were building this team, Tom said, "Hey, Rick, I got a guy that I think that would really help elevate us and be able to provide the coaching and really duplicate my theories, my beliefs, my teachings, in all aspects of life with our players that we work with." And when I met Justin for the first time, I was like, yes, this man. It's just a connection, man. When you start, that's one thing. When you start connecting with people that are of like mind, when they start introducing you to their friends and their friends, it's like there's an automatic connection that you have to them because it's the same synergy that you get with that individual that you know. So without further ado, man, I'm gonna have Justin come on. I know he's probably we didn't even tell him he was gonna come on.
That's it.
You've been listening to the Success Journey Show. You can check us out on our social media on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Also on our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Justin, thanks so much, man,
How you
for
doing,
coming
man?
in last minute. You know,
Absolutely,
I was like
absolutely.
giving your cue a little while ago.
Yeah, I was waiting for it.
So, Justin, man, I wanted to bring you on as well because, like, you are that validating factor of what Tom's work is as a individual, a person, as a man, as a coach, as a trainer, and just share a couple of words and just about your experience working with him. And even just vice versa, just to share with our travelers around the world.
But I mean, from the jump, everybody knows me as his second son. I mean, obviously we're not father and son, but even at the convention, we had probably 6, 7, 8 instances where like, father, son, do it, father, son, do it. Like, nah,
Passes all the time.
Yeah. So I mean, he's.
How come they didn't ask me that?
We're gonna keep that on the down low.
But no, he's been in my life for a while now. I think it's been
9 years.
9 years.
Started when you were 15.
Yeah, so he's met in my sophomore year of high school. I was doing pretty well on my own. I was definitely still had that baby chunk on me still. Wasn't fully filled out yet. Still a lot of work to do, but he saw me in a facility I actually ended up working in later on a few years ago, and he thought right away like, man, what is this kid doing? What is he doing with his front foot? Like, just because that's his mind. Like he sees something he's trying to break down. Like, what is he doing wrong? How can I make him better? And from that, he came in. He approached me, approached my dad, just introduced himself. And back then, when he was dealing with, I think Bob, with Bob, and from there, I believed in what he said. He showed me a few things right then and there, and then I started seeing him and working with him. And as I started working with him, I progressively got better and better and better at the plate. I mean, my stats showed it in the high school I was in, and that was sophomore year. So my junior and senior year, I was all Metro, all state, all district. Just put up some of the best numbers of my life, and I directly attributed that to meeting him and getting on board with his theories and how he trained. And it's been great ever since. Like I said, that carried me on to college. Did all right in college. Finished out at a small D2 down in South Carolina. And a few years went by after school, and I know he was still training. He was still doing his thing, and I was in the mix, but I wasn't directly involved. And he approached me one day and wanted me to really come on board and, like you just introduced me as his 2.0, right? He wanted me to really just get into the mix of training these kids and get familiar with how he does his trainings and his lessons and how he really hits home with not only like the mechanical aspect and drills and actually training them, but the life lessons you also have to take into effect, like work ethic and what you actually need to do to evolve as a baseball player and actually grow. But yeah, came on board as a trainer, and I think it's been about 2 years now. And I mean, I loved it ever since. It's been my way of staying in the game since I'm not actually playing, and it's a cool way to connect with kids and really deliver the message we're trying to get to them, which is just strong, powerful, healthy swings, right?
Right, there we go.
Yeah. But no, he's been a second dad to me ever since, and I love the dude, but nothing but good things to say about him.
Love it.
And you know what's crazy is like we're at a convention and we didn't really. I mean, we talked about how we were gonna do everything at the convention, right?
Yeah.
But when I saw Justin start hitting the ball and showing people, and Justin looked like a model baseball player. When he hit, I'm not gonna tell no lie. When you hit the ball, you're just everything. His technique is form, right? So I was so happy when people came over, and I heard a couple people actually like, "Yo, where you play?" Because the way how his whole technique and everything, and how he was presenting himself with the game, and I was just sitting back like, man, I love this, man, because we have validation, because all the team that we've put together is just what people are loving and seeing, you know, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, share. I'm gonna have you share two more things. One, I want you to share like when you see talent in players, particularly you talk about Justin here.
Right.
Like what draws you to them to say, hey, you know, I really want to help, you know, develop you?
Well, when I saw him, he was at a facility, so he's at least putting the time in. And he was there with his dad, and I'd heard they were going to be there, another friend of ours, mutual friend of his father. And I said, hey, go see this kid, he's pretty good, and I think you could help him. So when I sat back, they didn't really know I was watching. So I watched what he was doing and looking, you know, it's just automatically how my brain works. When you're teaching somebody a technique, you're going to break it down. We start with the feet and work up. And his feet weren't bad, but he was doing this silly thing with his front foot. And I asked him about it, and I don't know, one of the pros was doing it at that time. Harper, yeah, and he does this foot flick thing. I said, what's your name? And he said, Justin Mack. And I said, well, you're not Bryce Harper, so cut it out. And his father said, dude, you're hired. Yeah, it's what he said to me.
Wasn't that quick, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, he was like, okay. So, you know, you want, you know, with hitting, everybody has their own style. You still have to get to a certain point for contact, and your mechanics need to be right. But everybody might have a different way of getting to that point.
Philosophy.
So so it's, you know, and there's several different ways to hit the ball. So it's not like there's just one. And so you got to keep an open mind, depending on what you're doing. And as a teacher, you know, as Justin said, we're life coaches. I mean, look, 4 out of every 1 million kids make it to the MLB that play ball. So your chances are real slim. We don't like to pound that into little kids because I don't want to ruin their dream. But as they get older, you have to tell them the truth, because they think they're putting in some time and I'm really working. I'm in the gym a little bit. And they're not putting the time in, because you take my size, as small as I am, and you take Justin, well, I have to outwork him to even play with him. I have to be on his level. I've got to put more time in because he's bigger, faster, stronger. Okay, so that's how you need to look at that. And then, he's really not faster.
It took 9 years.
Yeah. Well, he's faster now because I'm getting old. But in general, when you're an athlete, or if you're playing in an athletic sport, you know, if you're smaller, you got to work harder. The problem is if you get a big guy that will work as hard or outwork you, you're really in trouble. So that's where there's, you know, these people have these fantasies. Oh, I'm going to make it. Well, you better put the time in. Yeah. And if you think you've put enough in, then put a little more in. I will say to the parents, make sure that you let your children play multiple sports. Don't just play baseball year-round or soccer. Those are two sports that they're trying to almost make a year-round sport. You're going to get repetitive motion injuries from the same muscle movement all the time. You're going to build better muscle structure playing different sports. The other thing is you might play baseball and then to say, hey, my son or daughter wants to try golf. Well, let them try golf because they might be better at that sport. Basketball, you have volleyball, wrestling, you have all these other sports these kids need to try. Let them try everything and then let them make a decision as they get older. If they're really special at something, once they maybe hit their early teens, then they can narrow down to that sport and then maybe focus on that, try to get scholarships or whatever their goals are. But let them play everything, you know, be dynamic.
Find their niche.
Yeah, find your niche. Don't just do one thing.
Yeah.
You know, that can be detrimental to.
So one last question.
Sure.
To ask you, and this is what we ask all of our guests, and that is, if you can go back at some point in life, and I'll take a time frame. Like, what would you? And you had 1 minute to talk to yourself. Like, you pull yourself aside and say, hey, I got 1 minute, what will you share? So if we go back to say, let's see. Yeah, we have a lot to pick from.
Sure.
Yeah. So many years.
So many years.
Too many to pick from.
Yeah.
Let's go from leaving high school.
High school.
High school. If you remember that, you know.
Sure. What I would have done in high school, I played summer ball with a lot of private school kids, and not whatever, just being honest, I was better than a lot of them. And I went to public school. But in our area, the public school kids don't get the notoriety and the attention that the private school kids get. And I think Justin would say the same thing. If he would have went to private school, he would have gotten a big scholarship coming out of one of the big private schools. So would I. So I was in public school. We were really good. We finished second in the state my junior year. And I hit over 300. And I had junior colleges talk to me in my senior year. If I would have went to private school and had those numbers, I would have got a scholarship. So if you want to give your athlete, if we're looking at athletics, or like we talk about Ricky's son Solomon, who's real smart. Solomon's in private school now on a scholarship. So Rick took the opportunity, let him take some tests, he scored real well, he got a scholarship to private school, and that is just going to give him more opportunity. So in sports, you should do the same thing. If they're playing club or whatever, put them to where they're getting the notoriety and give them as much opportunity as I could. My parents and I didn't think about private school then. Looking back, that maybe have changed things. I know it did for my son. He was private school soccer player, and it opened up opportunities once he finished school. So I definitely, look at opportunities early. Don't wait or look back and be the Monday day quarterback and go, wow, I wish I would have done that, because we're all going to do it at some time. With this business, it's been a blessing. Rick, everybody, Marlon, Justin, the whole team's been a blessing for me. Never thought, always liked the idea of inventing something. A lot of people think that, but getting there, writing a book, I never thought I'd write a book. I mean, I'd have bet my life savings I would have written a book. Justin even Ghost wrote some of that, Ghostwriter. Yeah, but so when the opportunity's there, grab it. Don't let it pass you by. That's one thing I would tell you. Looking back, think about how many opportunities you've missed in life already. Don't let them keep slipping through your hands. When it's there, grab it, go for it. I'm not telling you to take chances that you can't recover from, but if it's an opportunity, say if you can go for it, go for it. You're gonna have to step out there a little bit, and it's gonna be a little iffy at times, but when you have the opportunity, go for it.
Love it, sir. Love it. The Travelers, man, want to thank you again for tuning in to this episode. Like always, you can go to our website, thesuccessjourneyshow.com, and check out all of our previous guests. And we're so happy to be live with you this time.
Yeah.
Well, I say live, but in person. It's live for us.
Yeah.
And we're grateful for our guests today. And like I said, we will be at our website, The Success Journey Show, and you can check us out every single week on iTunes or Google Play or any other podcast platform that you listen to. We'll see you guys again next week, same time, same place on The Success Journey Show. Everyone have a good one. Peace. All right.
You've been listening to The Success Journey Show, where your dreams, drive, determination, and diligence are the foundation to success. For more information, check out thesuccessjourneyshow.com. The Journey Squad is here helping you to your destination.